You're now diving into the fish tank.
Sitting down with Seth Living, OJ, Juice Man.
Welcome back to the Fish Tank right here on the Miami Dolphins Podcast Network. Seth Levitt, DJ Preach, and the one and only OJ McDuffie. Juice, how you feeling today?
What's up, Big Seth?
Man, I'm excited. We're coming out of a bye week. We're about to see some games again. But we're gonna dial it back today. We're throwing it back to one of the all-time great Dolphins.
That's right.
And could not be more excited to have AJ Duhe in the house. AJ, welcome to the tank, man.
Good morning. Good morning. So there's one all-time great OJ McDuffie.
Yes,
there's three great all-time AJ Duhes.
There's three.
My dad, me, and my son. So I got to give us all the props.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. You know what? I'm glad you just said it, Duhe. I have to ask you this before we get into all the questions that we did put on the board. You know, as a kid, I heard it Dewey. I heard it Duhe. I think I probably said Dewey more than I did till I heard you say your own name one time and realized I'd been messing it up all this time. So can we set the record straight here in the tank that it's pronounce it correctly? Is it Duhe?
Yeah, well, Duhe is the correct pronunciation, but you know, when someone says Dewey or Duhe, like my boy Bo called me at first when he said he first saw my name. I mean, you know, it's all good, you know. Just don't call me anything bad. That's all.
that's right.
All right. Now, listen, we did a little research, AJ, before we got started here. One of our sources, and maybe you can figure out who it was, but one of our sources said we need to ask you about your early eating habits, that your eating habits when you got to the Dolphins maybe weren't what they needed to be.
Well, no, my eating habits are still picky, but they're not as picky as they were. Okay. I mean, so you're probably getting guys who talk to the cheese story. I'm sure somebody told you about a cheese story, right? So I never liked cheese growing up. Okay, for some reason I just didn't like cheese. My mother, you know, she didn't. If she'd have made lasagna or something, as you know, being a French lady, Cajun lady, you know, we didn't have, you know, we might have had spaghetti and meatballs once a month, maybe. You know what I mean? That was kind of our Italian. Let's throw that Italian dish into the mix, you know. So there was no lasagna, there was no chicken parmesan. There was,
man,
you know, there's not many French dishes that come with cheese. Okay, so it just that answers it, you know. So I remember we were, you know, Bo and I and Baumhauer, we used to live at a little motel from hell, I guess we call it. We found this motel that kind of rented out these efficiency apartments, and you know, we all rented them there. You know, so we would drive together to practice, and we'd pull into McDonald's, and I remember I told them I want two. I said, tell them no cheese. You know, no cheese. You know. So, you know, we get these and we get these, everybody's opening up the bag. I kind of go, where's the ones with no cheese? You know, and they all had cheese on them. You know, I said, turn this damn car back around. You know what I mean? So we head back there, and, you know, and to this day, Bo kind of goes, that little girl was probably 18 years old trying to make a few bucks, you know, and you just kind of chewed her ear off, you know what I mean? and then some more food stories, or, I mean, I got a bunch of those food stories, you know, then as we get going on road trips, I don't know if much of this goes on, but the veterans, there's always be like a core of veterans that would want to go out to these nice restaurants when we were traveling, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, they invite me, they invite Bo. You know, sometimes it'd be like, you know, maybe 2 or 3 of the young guys would go with like 7 or 8 of the older guys. But I remember this one time I went with a group of guys to a nice Italian restaurant in Cleveland. It was, I don't remember the name of it, but it was supposed to be one of the finer dining places in Cleveland.
What was it, Juice? That's your hometown.
When I was in Cleveland, I was not going to any fine dining restaurants in Cleveland. I promise you that.
I love it.
So, I mean, you know, in my eyes, it was fine dining, but today it might just be the regular place I'll go eat. You know,
Ponderosa.
Pizza Hut. I think they call it Pizza Hut.
No. Okay, so the story is that, you know, they come to the table. You know, what would you like to drink? Guys are ordering beers, you know, some waters and whatever. Then the guy says, can I tell you about our specials tonight? You know what I mean? So the guy came up with some kind of, he was talking about this, you know, we're making a veal parmesan, you know, we have, you know, but we were doing a little differently tonight. Then he talks about this pork dish, you know, and then he talks about this fish dish. So he comes around to me for my opportunity to make an order. And I said, I'll have pork parmesan. And the guy, and AJ, there's no pork Parmesan on the menu. I kind of go, wait a second. I heard him talk about this Parmesan dish, and I heard him talk about this pork dish. So I want to make pork Parmesan. And I told the guy, I said, my mom can do it. I know damn well if your chef can't do it, you need to close this place down. You know what I'm saying? I tell people to this day, I'm the initial trash talker of the NFL.
That's what I like to hear.
I said, you know, I remember going earlier that season, we were playing the Patriots, and they had John Hanna and Leon Gray, two perennial All-Pro guys. And that was in the time when the Dolphins were controlling the AFC East. But, you know, we were in a rebuilding season that year, and I go up against them, and they're both just tearing my ass, okay? You know, and big Leon Gray kind of goes, hey, Rook, it ain't as easy as you thought, right? Because, you know, going into that game, I had been having good games against, you know, everybody I played against, you know, and again, you know, it's probably trash talking, you know, it wasn't like it is nowadays, you know, where, you know, I was probably saying things like, you know, hell, I can play this game, you know, I mean, you know, those guys put on their shoes the same way I do or whatever, these things like that. So then maybe advancing it 5 or 6 weeks ahead towards Thanksgiving, we were playing up on Thanksgiving Day, and the sports writers had written us off. You know, we had a decent season, our rookie season, but they had said this is going to be the day that in St. Louis they're having fish for Thanksgiving, right? You know, the sports writers were writing us off, and you know, a lot of us on the team had a little chip on our shoulder because not giving us a chance to beat them. St. Louis at the time, I think, was considered the team to beat to make it to the NFC. You know, back in that, you know, they might have had if you look at their record, I mean, at that time they may have only had 1 or 2 losses. You know, so they were kind of one of the head. And we went up there, and you know, like I said, Greasy had the outstanding day. We were just shutting them down any way possible. We had a big day defensively, and as the game was going on, you know, Dobler would run his mouth, I would run my mouth, and you know, and I was saying things like, you know, because at that time we had 5 rookies starting on defense. I kind of go, and I was kind of going, hey, old boy, you know, these kids are whipping y'all's ass, huh? I mean, you know, and just talking stupid, and it turned ugly. You know, Coach Shula saw it starting to happen. He goes, AJ, he says, you know, let's kind of keep this under control. So, you know, the next series we'd go in there was some pushing and shoving going on. And finally, Shula took me out of the game.
Really?
He took me out of the game, and he put in a guy named Wally Pursuit, who was an offensive guard, but Wally must have been, you know, on the sideline begging to go play. So he gets in the game, and he was more crazier than I was. So he gets in there, and then the brawl starts. Okay, I'm not even on the field. Okay, I'm on the sideline. The bench is clear. You know, I'm still on the sideline. So all of a sudden, we come back to work on Tuesday for Players' Day, and Coach Shula starts reading. This is disgraceful. You know, this is the most fines ever issued by the NFL. You know, on any given day or something like that. So Coach Shula starts naming these guys. 250. You know, I mean, like nowadays the fine would be like 15,000 or something.
Right.
250. You 250. 175. He starts naming, and my name don't get called. And all of a sudden Larry Little goes, what the hell? AJ started all this stuff. And Coach goes, but he didn't leave the sideline.
There it is.